Okay, a lot of y'all raising your hand. I'm trying to see who's who here. Let me get Fatima in here. She has a nice forehead. Let me get Fatima in here. She looks like she's from Eritrea somewhere. What's up, Fatima? Turn your speaker on. Turn your mic on. What's up, Fatima?
Hi, Tariq. How are you?
Good. Now, where are you from? East Africa, somewhere you have a very pretty.
Yeah, I'm Somali.
That forehead told it.
Yeah, the forehead is pretty obvious.
Yes,
But
indeed. Go ahead. Go ahead.
so I had a few questions for you. Do you think that non-FBA immigrants are have more privilege here,
No,
or?
I wouldn't say that at all. I'm not saying they have more privilege because they don't. Because when they come over here, they, for the most part, a lot of them have to live in neighborhoods with us, with foundational Black Americans. You're not living
Mm-hmm.
people unless they adopt you. And then when you live around them and they adopt you, it's a whole different ball game. Then you definitely don't get no privilege. So yeah, I don't believe that there's privilege. I do understand how sometimes the white supremacists will use immigrants as a buffer class against us because the white supremacists understand that there's no cultural camaraderie for to a certain degree, and they could use that to their advantage. This is why I spoke earlier. Whenever we start talking about reparations, they'll go get some Black immigrant to start leading the reparations council, knowing that this Black immigrant has no historic camaraderie with us as far as reparations, and they know that they're not qualified, so they're not going to really fight for us to get it. And
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? So it's not privilege. They just know how to use people as buffers against us to a certain degree. Not all immigrants, but a lot. Just like with the whole Black Lives Matter thing, a lot of those so-called Black Lives Matter leaders, many of them are non-FBA people. And whenever we start talking about getting justice for Black people, they send those non-FBA people out here to talk about, well, what about LGBT and what about the Hispanics? And they send these people out to dissipate the energy. So they know that they're going to be off code with us to a certain degree. And that's kind of the thing that we have a problem with.
So, do you think that non-FBA immigrants are somewhat they don't have the same amount of passion for movements like Black Lives Matter, or they're less affected by systematic racism?
No, they're still affected. There's a reason why y'all had to come over here. Let's be
Hmm.
very clear. The thing is, immigrant groups, especially from the African diaspora, the reason why they have to come over here is because of the effects of white supremacy. Over there, they don't see it like that because the puppet leaders that are in power, they're being orchestrated by the Western powers, and the Western powers are not seen. So when
Hmm.
you see corruption and degradation in those societies, there's a black face on it, but you don't see the white hand behind it. So when a white person shows up over there, they're like, "Oh God, this is a savior," because usually the white person is bringing over food, gifts, a couple of dollars here, a couple of dollars there. So they look at the white supremacists a little bit different. So when they come over here or are allowed to come over here, they don't view white supremacy the way we do, for the most part. So they're not as vehemently about fighting it as we are, and they oftentimes look at us like, "Come on, guys, why don't you pull yourself up by your bootstraps? And what about black on black crime?" We get a lot of that from a lot of these non-FBA people. And another thing, a lot of them, because see, we sit here as foundational Black Americans, we look at all Black people as, we're Black folks, so we're going to ride for Black people, period.
Hmm.
As a Somalian, and you know this, and people from East Africa, when they get over here, I've heard many Somalians in particular,
Somali, yeah. Sorry.
Somali,
Yeah.
I've heard them sit up and say, "Well, I ain't Black, I'm Somali."
Oh, that's so stupid. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
heard that, but it's just black isn't an ethnicity, it's a race. Like if your skin is
right.
black, you are black. So,
So are they going out of their way to
yeah.
make that damn distinction? You
Hmm.
feel me? You know your culture. You know how they.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't agree with it for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So as foundational Black Americans, we're starting to say, okay, well, look, we as foundational Black Americans, we're going to have to make sure that our ethnic tribe, because we
Hmm.
are an ethnic tribe as well, even though we're all Black, we
Yeah.
have ethnicities. So we got to make sure that our tribe is good first before we can just put the cape on for everybody. So that's what we're saying.
Yeah. Honestly, growing up in this country, I've always just, like, considered myself Black,
Yeah.
but, like, coming into these spaces, I've actually noticed that a lot of people there's, like, these major differences, which are, very valid and very true. But, like, do you overall consider non-FBA immigrants to be allies for the most part?
Some, some are,
Yeah,
some are, and we have a every blue moon we'll get a Stokely Carmichael. Every blue moon we'll get a Marcus Garvey.
yeah.
But if we're going to be very honest, as a group, in the last 40 years, and I'm talking as a group,
Mhm.
you just don't have groups of immigrants acting as allies with foundational Black Americans, unfortunately.
Why do you think that necessarily is? Like, what would be holding them back if they're a Black immigrant? Like, what's stopping them?
Well, over there, there's so many tribal differences there
Oh,
where
yeah.
you guys are from. You guys don't,
Mhm.
y'all not clicked up over there. When I go to Africa, you have all of these ethnic tribes and ethnic groups, and all of these
Yeah.
people. To me, they all look the same, but they're
Yeah,
like,
they
I'm
do,
com-
but
I'm different from him. Me and that nigga, we totally different. It's that type of vibe. And then they bring that same thing over here to us. Like, hey, I ain't one
yeah.
of them. Not one of them Makadas.
But Africa's very divided. Very,
Yeah,
very divided.
yes, indeed. And they bring that same division over here.
Yeah.
So it's like our tribe, them, they look at themselves as a separate tribe, and their tribe is
Mhm.
all about getting tangibles and resources for their tribe. So they come over here and start setting up separate schools, separate churches. After they get money around us, they get all of the DACA program grants and all of the other minority set asides that Black people fought for.
Mhm.
We patronize their businesses when they set up shop, and then they get that money and set up separate schools, separate churches, and the whole nine yards to distance themselves from us. And
Yeah.
they make it a point to tell white people that they're so different from us. We don't do that. We don't get around white people and shit on immigrants. That's one thing
Yeah,
that we do not do. So
that's true.
yeah, so everybody's going to have to get on board with this ally thing, because this allyship thing cannot be one sided anymore. We just
Yeah,
don't.
definitely.
You feel me?
Mhm.
All
So
right.
last question, like, do you overall support immigration or do you not because, like, it obviously doesn't really benefit FBAs?
Yeah, at this point, no, I do not support any of it. We have enough people over here. We
Mhm.
shouldn't let any more people over. I am so against
I've
immigration.
heard I walked into another space, like, earlier this week, and they were really pro, like, deportations. What are your views on that?
Yeah, no, I don't think that you should start deporting people.
Yeah.
No, no, I'm especially other Black people. Even if I have political or cultural disagreements with it, I don't want you to harm anybody. I don't want.
Mhm.
But as far as me opening up the gates in my pocketbook and my tax dollars to other
Yeah.
groups coming over, I'm good. I'm cool because when I went to Africa, I was over there damn near begging people for dual citizenship.
Oh,
And
really?
yes, I was. I was all over Africa saying, hey, man, how come y'all don't have dual citizenship for us? So we can
That's
just come.
insane.
Yeah, there's no country over there that has a fast track to dual citizenship for
Oh, I
foundational Black Americans.
I thought there was one country in West Africa that
Yeah, that's Ghana has a right to
yeah,
abode. They
Ghana.
had a right to abode, but there's so much red tape behind that. It's damn near impossible to get. In order for us to go get any dual citizenship, we got to go over there with a big bag. We got to start. Yeah,
Oh,
we got
yeah,
to
like,
all
very
types.
corrupt. It makes
Yeah,
sense, very corrupt.
yeah. So yeah, they ain't biting, man. It's so one sided. So I'm like, I'm gonna just give them the same energy. This y'all do
Yeah.
you, and we do us. You know.
Yeah, no, I respect it. Well, it was great talking to you, Tariq.
Thank you so much, beloved. All right.